Hello and welcome to the second episode of Trailer Breakdown. Today we're going to be looking at the second trailer for Outcast Second Contact. In this one there's many comparison shots and a lot of text on screen, so we're going to be cutting those parts out and looking solely at the new footage. So please recline your chair and enjoy. The first shot we're going to be looking at is a comparison between Shamazar from the original game and the new Outcast Second Contact. Now, it's nothing too much to look at in this one. We've seen quite a bit of Shamazar already, but we got a nice walking animation there from a Twanha walking away. Very nice indeed. Not much more to go on, so let's look at the next frame. Now we've got Cutter running towards the Daoka to Shamazar in Rizar. And the comparison, this is quite interesting. So notice the snow in this part. We've got nice little sort of circular things, and boom, straight into a blizzard, which looks much better compared. The original game did change between light snow to heavy snow, so it'd be interesting to see if that's the same with this one. One thing I did notice is the original game always left footprints, which is something I always used to call out because I thought it was such an amazing thing to happen in a game in 1999. Looks like the new version of the game sadly does not keep in with this. Maybe there's probably more limitations with the Unity engine rather than using voxels, as I believe with voxels you could morph the surrounding as you went. Not much more to take from this one. The background fence looks lovely, the logs are looking nice and coated with snow there. We then cut to Talazar as Cutter runs towards the Palace Fae. And notice there's no one around, there's not really a lot on the floor, there's kind of sort of like lumps where rocks would be and everything. It looks quite tatty really. If we cut to the comparison shot, oh, we've got beautiful grass on the floor with rocks, a lot more populated. You got the water salesman there in the background, there's a soldier on the stairs I believe, and we can see a lot more of the Palace Fae. If we look back on the original version, we can see the render distance was render distance. Like, there was no way of getting around that back then. So we can't actually see the rest of the temple. However, if we cut to Outcast Second Contact, the whole temple is there, and it's kind of cloaked in this fog, which I think really sort of shows off the atmosphere of the game, going for this kind of sandy desert. We then cut back to Shamazar as Cutter swimming past the sunken ship, which has a lot of dynamite and other goodies around it. And we see the comparison shots. We can see the ship now has a nice sort of splintered look there at the top. We're back on Talazar as Cutter looks past the water well. And we can see we've only really got the water guy there, who's a bit worried. We've got some of the animal skins in the background there. And as we cut to the new version with quite a shoddy car, I gotta say, like, come on guys. Anyway, and now we can see it's a lot more populated with a few more people around. The Zorkin's chest there has a nice new model, of course. A few more potted plants on the rooftops, and one thing I noticed here is that the UI for Cutter's selected weapon has changed compared to the original released photos we saw. So now we've got a lot more simplistic version, which just shows the ammo amount, and I'm wondering if NV0 is related to the level. You can level up your weapons by buying the updated versions from merchants. And as we can see, I think this one is on 0. And the blue bar at the bottom, I'm wondering if that's your health. As it's visualized there as when you get your weapon out, you're obviously going to be in combat, and therefore your health might go down, so it's a good way of showing it whilst keeping a clean UI. And what do you know it, we're back on Shamazar again as Cutter swims through the waters. Now this time, we can see he's not alone in the water. There is a spiky nibbly fish, whose name I can't remember, but I always used to call him you little bastards, so the little bastard's swimming around there. These fish are always pretty weird looking, so it's nice to see that they've not any lesser with their former selves, which I think is good. We can see the water does ripple around when Cutter does swim, so that's good that that's still in there, as that was always a pretty cool feature to have in a 1999 game. And then we are back on Talazar as Cutter is using what seems to be a new little element into the game. Now, in the original one, it was either you stand or you're flat on your belly, but it looks like you can now crouch to walk past soldiers. Now, stealth was quite a big element of the game, but it wasn't really utilized too much. It did work, but again, going from standing to on your chest on the floor, going very slowly wasn't really something you wanted to do too much, so it'd be easy just to run in there and blow everyone up. So this is the soldier barracks where you'd use the, is it lackey or something? I can't remember what it's called, but the beverage, and you get someone to deliver it there, and he basically spikes it so everybody falls asleep and you can get in there and get all the loots, which is pretty good. Another thing I like is the texture on that building in the background. It's a very nice high resolution. It really gives depth to what will be a flat model. Next, we're back on Shamazar as Cutter's running up the stairs to the Temple Gundar, I believe. Not much to see in this one. We've got a couple of soldiers in the background patrolling one of the storage units. We've got some flames on these posts here. It's a bit hard to see in the light. Another thing to notice is the beautiful sun rays going past as Cutter walks between the sun and our perspective. Very nice indeed. Doesn't seem to be any collectible vegetation there on the slanted out areas on the temple wall. Again, not too much to see. I think in the background there, that is the pool where the fake Gorgor is. Then we travel to Mortazar for the first time in this trailer, and Cutter is on the back of a Twanhar. Very nice indeed. Not much to see in this one, just the little tail flapping. Nice little animation there. On the right hand side, we've got that Talan who steals stuff from the storage units, which you have to kind of catch him and dob him in, or not dob him in. A couple of soldiers running around in the background there. Again, this is a beautiful shot which really illustrates how well the fog works in this game. But other than that, there's not too much to see in this shot. The lava looks great. These are things we covered in the last episode, so let's continue. And there we are back in Talazar as Cutter is jumping from one building to the other. Yes, we get to see the somewhat awkward super jump of Cutter. However, you might not like that animation, but you got to agree, the animation of him climbing up and putting his legs through to go whoop is pretty great. I was pretty happy with that. I think it looks fantastic. Another thing to notice is that we are in the meat box, and there is a nice stand there with lovely looking meats. And something I've just noticed is there looks to be a shining light coming out the back of Cutter's backpack. So I'm wondering if this is actually Cutter jumping with a boost on rather than him actually jumping, and that would explain why it looks like he's doing a powerful boost. Interesting. So maybe it is a little jetpack. Interesting. I had not known that before. Okay, we're gonna have to look back at the last trailer and see if he has that there as well. So looking back at the original trailer, it appears that it is not present in this cut. However, if we look at this B-roll footage from E3 this year, we can see and hear that that is indeed a jetpack. So I'm wondering if they've added this in because of people's criticism towards the jump. Interesting. We then cut to Mortazar again, as Cutter's looking at the landscape of the Talan village there. A little chap walking around there. There's not too much to see, which we didn't cover from last time. The two buildings over there, that was the camera perspective from last time, I believe. Overall, a lovely looking place. Cutter has now climbed to the top of the Gundar temple back on Shamazar, and as we can see, we've got a bit more of a aerial shot of the supply storage unit there with the soldiers. There's not too much to see from this one. Some of the flames there at the bottom. Again, I think we can see one of the other temples there. I think that's the Elwi temple, I believe. It's hard to tell. Staying with Shamazar, we can see Cutter running for the water as a projectile flies past him. Now, what's interesting is that the Talan who's shooting this seems to be crouching down. So I kind of like this. Like when they want to take a shot from afar, they might stop and try and aim their shot a bit better, which I think is quite interesting. The speed of the bullets are much more quicker than the original game, so I think combat's going to be far more exhilarating than it was before, where you could turn like straight to the left, straight to the right. I think now it's kind of, you got to kind of really think about dodging. As Cutter runs towards the water, we can see that he's jumping into the little bastard-infested water. We've got 1, 2, 3 of them. And I like how the shot cuts just before he splashed into the water, revealing that they've probably not got a fantastic animation there just yet. We can see a few things going on in the background there with the soldiers. There's not too much to take from this shot other than those. So let's cut to the next one. We're back on Talazar, and looks like Cutter is trying to assault the soldiers who are guarding the Delka to Okasankar. And as you can see at the top, he's just launched a little grenade. So, as we can see, the projectiles of the soldiers lighting up the ground, which I still think the lighting in this game is amazing. Now, one thing to take note is that the explosions in the last trailer look fantastic, and we get a closer look of where the explosions are coming from. As we can see, two things happen. One, a little kind of cloud, which I believe is probably the emitter point for the explosion, pops up, not on the surface, so that needs to be changed, and then the lighting for the explosion pops up much higher than that. So, quite interesting. As soon as they're both sort of activated and done their thing, it does look a really beautiful shot. That looks fantastic. We are then back on Shamazar, and would you know it, there's some Crackit running for Cutter. Now, in the last game, when these things came towards you, they are kind of all meshed together. They didn't really seem to have a collision box for each other, and it looks like this is a true remake, as these guys all seem to be running through each other and spitting their acid at you, just as before. So I think it's nice that we're getting something that's not changed. Dear, dear. Nothing much more to take from this shot. Got a nice few different plant types around. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Keeping on Shamazar, it looks like Cutter is taking on one of the guarded storage units from the soldiers, and I'm pretty sure you've noticed by now there's a lot of icons on screen. So what these are, these tell you where the soldiers are. So as Cutter's kind of aiming at this soldier who's just shot the projectile at him, we can see at the right hand icon, just past the scope center, there is for a soldier, and as he pops out from behind the rock, it looks like the icon goes away. So these icons only seem to be there when you can't see the soldier. Now, what's interesting is, are these created by you tagging them, which would make sense with the UI you have, or are these just to show where soldiers are when they're hunting for you? In one of the later shots, I think we have the answer for that, but for now, let's just keep with those two options open. Again, the projectiles look fantastic, hitting the what looks like a shield or something Cutter might have. And then we cut back to Talazar as Cutter is running away from the fast rapid-fire shootings of one of the guards that stands on a post. They're very easy to kill. I think they go down in one shot, which is helpful. But my goodness, look how many shots these guys are taking out. Like, before we'd have one projectile coming from afar to hit you, but now you've got to really be careful. Now, what's interesting is that these don't seem to be lighting up the scenery too much compared. However, it seems to suddenly kick in over there. So maybe I think these ones will light up when they hit something rather than when they're going past something. Pretty because they're so fast. But look at that, just lighting up the surrounding. I know I've talked about lighting so much, but it does look fantastic. Further down one of the streets of Talazar, we can see that Cutter is taking on a soldier on the stairs. Now, what I referenced before was the icons that pop up. So we have the two skull icons pop up here. So I'm wondering if these are actually activated when soldiers are alerted rather than you tagging them. As these guys, when they walk down the stairs, it's three of them. You have a higher tier soldier and you have two of the lower tier soldiers. So it looks like the higher tier one has come down the stairs and the explosion has activated the alert level to trigger in the enemies, and therefore the skull icons to pop up when you can't see them. So I think the icons only pop up when you've got alerted soldiers. Very interesting indeed. Got a nice little canoe there as well on the right hand side. Very nice. Not much more to take from this, so let's move on to the last shot of the trailer. And we have badass Cutter walking away from the destruction that the Lundo has created next to the Doka that leads to Akasankar. It looks like he wasn't finished with these guys, and he's left with a huge explosion, which has a shockwave. It takes out a box over there. My god, this is a hell of an explosion. Again, it doesn't seem to be affecting the soldiers too much, but that looks amazing. So with this amazing shot, let's end the trailer there. Thanks for watching, guys. That's another trailer breakdown done. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like, and if you really enjoyed this, oh my goodness, a nice little subscription would be very nice. So what are your guys' thoughts? The additional jetpack and the icon for the soldiers? I thought they were both really nice little improvements. But yes, what did you think? Let me know, shove it in the comments, and thanks for watching. Here's a couple of links to other Outcast videos. Some of them you may not have watched, but if you've got this far, you probably have already. But yes, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be back soon with the first of the series of looking into the regions of Adelpha. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time under the moons. See you later.